Hmm. So, we good with the go?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's about 11 o'clock on, I think this is day 16th, which is Saturday night. So I wanted to just do a sharing on two things that are on my mind right now, two themes, and they're interrelated. The themes are respect and beauty. So I felt a little bit deflated last night, when I went to sleep. I went to sleep early, and I haven't been sleeping a lot, so I it's a mix because I'm just really excited and inspired, and there's a certain energy that's in me that's delicious. But I also understand that this energy that's running through me may be imposing on people. And what I mean by this is that yesterday I did a video on synchronicity, and I read you this video. I read you the email that I sent Elle, and even now I have some doubt about actually kind of talking about this, because I'm trying to talk about respect while I'm having respect, and so I'm a bit ambivalent about what I'm going to say, but Elle called me last night and about the email that I sent, and I realized and suggested that a different way, to that this may or may not emerge in terms of my message getting to Joe Biden. So I don't know how my message is going to get to Joe Biden, but I came off the call feeling a bit deflated, because sometimes I have this image that we're in the flow of emergence, but I don't know what the script is. I really don't know what the script is, and so I asked him to just go back and watch this video on synchronicity that I did yesterday morning. And I realized that might have put a pressure on him and actually on Senator Chris Dodd. And I want to apologize for that if I'm kind of like this enthusiasm is running away from me. So, just for me to announce it before, my enthusiasm doesn't necessarily respect the process. And I understand, even though I have a strong intent that I want to connect with, and this was another part of respect. Sue reminded me that I might not be saying Kamala. I hope I'm saying Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Is that right, Susie? Kamala Harris. So I just want to Yvette had spoken about being respectful of how people want to be called, and so I want to be deeply respectful, and making sure I'm using the right terms, which is Vice President Kamala Harris. Is that, yeah. Kamala Harris. And then when I speak about Joe, all due respect, Joe, I think partly the reason why we feel so comfortable calling you Joe within your campaign, I think you wanted to have, us feeling accessible. And I think I feel you have such empathy that it's easy to call you Joe, but the truth of it, that deserves respect. You're President-elect Joe Biden. You're President-elect Joe Biden. So I want to just respect, and that's my highest intent, that my messages reach you, because I want to serve at the highest level. in the short time that I have remaining. I start chemo and radiation on December 8th. So I realized that I'm probably in my peak moment of being articulate right now. I don't know what's on the other side of this once I start the radiation and the chemo. I really don't know what's on the other side of this. So I do have a certain sense of urgency, and and that kind of ignites in me to really kind of feel the moment. And I think because I feel the moment and I have a sense of urgency, that may be putting pressure on other people. So Elle, I'm sorry if I put you in a difficult position in terms of how this all unfolds. I want to respect who you are. Senator Dodd, I want to respect who you are, and if you feel comfortable supporting, this, or don't, whatever unfolds, I want you to know that I deeply respect you, and more importantly, I also deeply respect the process. So I felt just compelled to issue an apology if I'm kind of moving at a pace that leaves anybody feeling uncomfortable. And then I'm thinking about what it is that we're creating here together, all of us. And what I am sensing, it's such glorious. We were trying to figure out, and this was the other when talking about beauty. I'm thinking about this video I'd alluded to earlier when I had that discussion with Dill. It was actually the first discussion I had with Dill, earlier in the sequence, where I told him about this video I'd watched with Van Gogh, and I'm going to put that video for you. I'm going to put that video again for you below this video, a reference. It's just so exquisite. And it was about Van Gogh going back to the Musée d'Orsay and watching his legacy, and so he's coming back from the past into the present, and he sees with amazement what his legacy has become. And then he sees the curator, after being asked, and Van Gogh is over his listening, and he hears the curator say, in response to Van Gogh's friend saying, "Who's the greatest artist of them all?" He says, Van Gogh. And he says, because he said he wandered the fields in pain. He wandered the fields in pain. And out of that, he made exquisitely beautiful art. Exquisitely beautiful art. So he created, essentially what he did was he created beauty out of pain. He created beauty out of pain. And I think, what I'm sensing right now when I talk about the force field of miracles is that, the reason why there's an unfolding, just what's emerging in this, and I realize this is not a project, we have to find a name for this genre. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions. It's a sacred emerging process. I don't know if that, that probably needs some refinement. Yeah, hey Del, sweetie.
You okay?
I'm great, sweetie. I'm great. I'm just shooting a video, bub. I love you.
Love you too.
Okay.
Everything's good, alright?
Everything's really good. Everything's really good. And this is a beautiful moment. This is a beautiful moment for you asking. Thank you, Bubby. Another moment of beauty. That was Dole. Seeing if everything's okay. So, with Van Gogh, he really created beauty out of pain, and what I think we're doing over here together, and I'm certainly not doing it alone. There's a community of, with the interludes, when I put these interludes between me speaking, I'm getting people sending me these beautiful, beautiful videos. So there was Dr. Abram Brody, Abe, You deserve, obviously the respect of your Dr. Abram Brody, but to me, he's Abe. He sent me this beautiful piano tribute. And then Rachel, your singing a cappella just like touched me to the soul. That's, you've seen that, Rachel Druckenmiller, that was so beautiful. And then Alana Pratt with your tribute to the boys. Oh God, that was just so beautiful. So there's beauty, there's this rhythm of kind of what's showing up over here. And I'm thinking about a video that I tried to do early on that we actually didn't, because I promised you I was going to actually share with you, our Thanksgiving ritual. And so even there, that was learning. Oh God. I was setting, a lot of what's emerging is just very raw. Even this moment, it's like very, very raw. And that has its own beauty, Let me just share with you why. I have a dear friend, a very dear friend, Chip Connolly, who's created the Modern Elder Academy, and my intention is to have a conversation with Chip, because I want you to meet. Chip is, he's got such a compelling story. Chip Connolly, he served as the head of global strategy for Airbnb. He came up with the Belong Anywhere slogan. And anyway, he invited me down to he's got a Modern Elder Academy in Baja, Mexico, and we did a Leading Well from Within week together, where we merged our work, of Leading Well from Within with his work, on the Modern Elder Academy, and the heart of this week-long retreat was a talking circle. And Chip spoke about 3 vaults. And the first vault is like the safest vault. The first vault is where we tell the facts about our life. The facts about life, and it's safe, and so it's like, what is our role, how much do we make, all the facts. And then the second vault is a bit deeper. And the second vault is where we share stories how we've made meaning of our life. But the third vault is the rawest and most deep. And the third vault is the vault of essence. It's the vault of essence where we speak, literally, from the force field. We allow something, and so the instruction is, don't prepare until the talking stick lands in your lap, and then speak from just whenever you're moved. And as you listen to the beauty, people take a while to settle into this process, because initially we're self-conscious in the talking circle, but by the end of the week, people are actually speaking from this place of essence, and this is the place of incredible beauty. It's just poetry emerges. And that's what I sense is emerging over here, that it's raw and it's authentic. I don't know what the genre is, but it's a place, this may spawn, I don't know, I'm thinking about just how beautiful it is that we're watching videos of our boys talking with awe and amazement, because we realize we wouldn't be actually having these conversations face to face, because they're very intimate. But we realize when we're shooting a video, first of all, there's a certain kind of beauty by talking from essence for each of us, talking it out. There's a certain beauty for ourselves. So first of all, we're talking this out for ourselves. And then next, because we're each sharing it, we're doing this for each other as a family. We're listening, and it's healing. I'm amazed. We're amazed. Sue and I are amazed at the videos that are being filmed by Zach and Dylan, like what's emerging for them. So that's giving us like just a depth. It's so beautiful. And then there's a beauty that knowing that we're actually sharing this with the world, and then the world's coming back at us, there's that beauty where there's a certain rhythm of intense, what's being shared, it's intense. And then there's these interludes, there's a rhythm, there's a certain rhythm of what's showing up. So, and it's a co-creation in our community of this movement of healing that we're creating together. And it feels beautiful. It feels really beautiful. So, this is the spirit where I want to protect, there's a thing where we protect beauty, And so I'm imagining as, even my intention, to actually have this go viral, this channel go viral. I mean, even there's a certain kind of pressure on that I'm imposing on people to subscribe. And, it'll emerge into what it emerges into. I mean, let it emerge beautifully and however it emerges, without pressure, without obligation. You're not obligated to subscribe, and, if you feel moved to, you will. This is emergent, and I trust that I'm not engineering it, and it's beautiful because I realize this script is unfolding according to the force field of miracles. So if anything, in all due respect, God is the producer, director, scriptwriter, and truly is running the show, because if we listen deeply into the field of what is emerging and sensing deeply into the field of what's being called for, it is of its own accord beautiful. And all we have to do is sense, which means giving people, like the amazing people, like El Lazovsky is extraordinary person. He's an extraordinary person. From what I've heard from him sharing about Senator Chris Dodd, he is, I've never met Senator Dodd. I haven't yet met Senator Dodd, and I hope to meet Senator Dodd. What El has shared with me about your life is that, he's shared with me the depth of your beauty. And I want to kind of, even before I meet you, if we happen to have the pleasure of meeting each other, I want to give you the due respect, of acknowledging your greatness. I understand you're doing incredible work in human rights, and I would love to learn more about it and support that work, if that serves. So however this unfolds, I trust as we sense with intense respect for what's ever unfolding, beauty will emerge. So let me give you kind of an example of where the reason why we didn't actually put that, so-called ritual of gratitude that I had promised to put in on Thanksgiving Day, and I actually felt a certain sense of pressure and obligation, because in an earlier video I promised that. I was sitting around the table, and I don't even know what vault I was in. I certainly wasn't in third vault. I was trying to engineer the process, and this was the first kind of video where I was trying to tell people about what order we should go in and how we should engineer it, and I was imposing a certain structure, and it was certainly not a structure of from essence. And then two things happened. I felt hurt because I thought Sue shut down because she was going to start, and I was trying to say, well, no, let's do it this way, and she said, well, I want to do it my way. And I got really frustrated with Sue, and I'm sorry, Susie, I have to owe you an apology as well, because I didn't give you the due respect of you. I didn't give you the due respect. I was kind of like, I was pushing for something, and I wasn't sensing and responding to you. And that was one of the things, what the gift of what you've taught me is that you have your own pace with this, and I need to be present and hear you in the way that you want to be heard, not because, you know, I have this pressure and I'm having this certain spiritual awakening, and that's not necessarily your process. You're going through this at your own pace. So you know, at that time, you know, as much as Sue was watching me awaken, it was imposing a pressure on her in some way, and that was not beautiful. That was not respectful. That was not. And then, at the point I was getting frustrated, you know, it was kind of feeding on itself, and we weren't doing the ritual right. We need to kind of let people into a, you know, I think Sue said, you know, appropriately so, she says, this is not a reality show. We're not shooting a reality show. You know, and then what happened was at the point that I was urging to press record, something very weird happened. 2 screws fell out of the chair at that moment in time. 2 screws fell out of the chair. Talk about synchronicity. Not 1 screw, 2 screws fell out of a chair. It's the first time that's ever happened. You know, and it was like, what the hell is that about? You know, what the hell is that about? And I think what that was about was that it was an ugly moment. It's not a reality show that is debasing. It's not setting things up like it's got to be a show. It's very different from whatever else is going on out there in terms of these, you know, these reality shows where people are driving millions of subscribers, which everything is so planned and structured and, you know, and engineered. That's not what this is. It's not a reality show. And sometimes some of those reality shows really kind of debase humanity as rather than uplifting it. I mean, what I think is going on over here is we're co-creating, you know, in this, creating a coalition of movements of people that are doing the work of healing and elevation in the world. We're creating sacred art together. That's what we are. We're creating sacred art together where we've actually, in many ways, we're transforming suffering into beauty. We're transforming suffering into beauty. And this is also another way where this may be, you know, with other families that are suffering. I mean, maybe this is a process that other families would want to replicate too for their healing process, because I know when I pass on, whenever that may be, this will be an enduring artwork. This channel will be an enduring artwork for generations to come. For generations to come. You know, so if people want to feel a part of thread of my legacy in it, they will have these videos now that are emerging. But I trust that this channel will go on long after I'm gone, when my family, in whatever emerges, continues the work of their leadership, and perhaps even when they have kids. I mean, the channel will keep going. This may be a river of beauty that runs for generations, or maybe it stops whenever the time is right. I don't know, you know, and then maybe there are these other rivers running because people have been inspired by this process, and these other rivers are running too. So I want to be respectful in this process, and I don't want to impose any pressure on anybody. In due respect, I want to actually people to be addressed by the names that they are owed. That people feel that moved to engage in whichever way they're inspired to engage, not coerced, but inspired of their own accord to engage. And I will protect beauty, because I imagine as this gets larger, people may send me things that just don't feel right to go into the channel. It doesn't feel right for some reason. You know, I don't know what that might be. I mean, certainly I think if you have a subscriber base that gets into the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands or millions, you know, there's a certain pressure that people, you know, there's a certain economic advantage that people want to seize on. And there may be things entering my orbit, I don't know what yet, that imposes a pressure. Even I'm imagining, I'm trying to figure out what happens when advertising, if things get larger, what happens if somehow adverts show up on these videos, and it creates a different experience. So I will, in that there's two things. One is I want to sense with respect into the field, understanding that God is writing the script in this third vault of essence, in terms of what's emerging, sensing into what's being called for. I want to press record whenever it feels right. And by the way, this feels like a moment. This feels appropriate. Because there are moments outside early on today where we had a moment with the family that definitely we wouldn't have pressed record on. We wouldn't have pressed record on. And it was such a beautiful moment where we cried as a family, because I was listening to, on Pandora, in the Yanni channel, which is its own thing, but I think it was Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, that song Hallelujah. It was I wept, because that to me is, talk about beauty. That to me is music from the force field of miracles. That is the most exquisite, that touched me to it's so beautiful, it's so intensely beautiful that I wept. And I said, whenever my time comes, perhaps when I'm in a stage of hospice, whenever that may be, I want that music playing, because it's actually that beautiful. And then when I pass on, hi Zaki, I'm just finishing up a video here, but when I pass on, I want that to be played at my memorial, hallelujah, hallelujah. So my role over here is both to honor the beauty that's emerging through, and to protect the beauty when it doesn't serve, and to protect the beauty when it doesn't serve. And so that is what I pledge to you. I want us as a community to do this work with immense respect for this process, immense respect and cycles of receiving, giving love for each other, and an immense appreciation for the beauty that's unfolding in this process, that's emerging out of this force field of miracles, this sacred field, together with giving ultimate respect for the source of creation that is allowing all this beauty to unfold.